For the first time in the series of YouTuber tributes I've done since the past 2 years, I'm gonna do a retro YouTube tribute involving one of the YouTubers I've watched in the early 2010s. And one of those people is SirRonLionHeart. If any of you guys aren't familiar with him, I pretty much understand. I mean, he has 10,000 subscribers, which is a lot, but compared to other YouTubers who are new and gaining more subscribers, a lot has changed. And most of the uploads that he did was back in 2009 and mostly in 2010, and in a few uploads in the next following years. I'm saying this because I can say that SirRonLionHeart is one of those YouTubers who is active in some other way, but at the same time, he's just really not interested into making YouTube content like he used to back in the earlier days of YouTube, or earlier years, whatever you prefer. First, I'm gonna show you a clip on who this guy is.
Yeah, so I can sometimes win, depending on the robot, obviously. This guy is,
Okay, why did I completely play that footage without explaining anything? Well, he wasn't really like that. I mean, his voice is just mostly boring, and the fact that he's just trying to keep this into an open mind. But when you look at the videos that he did in the past, oh boy, here it comes.
Oh, who's that?
It's me, Squall, remember?
Oh man, my head. Oh, why do I feel sick?
I don't know. You just...
Squall? Squall, is that you? Oh, what the?
He made that voice. And I'm just gonna say right now that I mostly apologize for you to listen to that voice, but this is the reason onto why I did a YouTuber. This is the reason why he's the first person I'm gonna be doing a retro YouTuber tribute on. He made this voice in his videos from 2009 to 2000 and something, but I know somewhere that he stopped using that voice. But if you look at some of his videos, which has different wording numbers compared to original numbers, he does his voice a lot. And if you really think that I'm exaggerating, he actually does voices for other characters in the video games. He actually did that in his earlier videos, where he completely voiced a different character with a different voice. Let me tell you right now that when I was young, I actually found this really entertaining. However, getting older, it's starting to become really, really repetitive the more I think about it. The main reason is the fact that with the amount of views that he has, it really goes to show that his voice is probably one of the biggest examples onto why people instantly cut from his contact when it comes to newcomers. I mean, his close subscribers don't mind of it whatsoever, but when you completely hear more of his voice and the fact that he just keeps doing the same voice constantly again and again for nearly every single video, and the fact that most of his videos are really long when it comes to playlists, not really long, but short to the point that he has to make multiple videos, which is excusable because back in the day, YouTube doesn't allow you to upload longer videos. I still actually found him a guilty pleasure. Mainly the fact that his LPs involving Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are probably much my favorite from him. He even counts them up every time he gets into a newer episode. If you don't believe me, I really think that episodes involving him, especially with other voices they can do, is pretty much what really made me entertaining. Mainly in episodes like 155, where he's trying to escape Ganon's castle, and all the while Malon, who is his wife apparently, commentates with him. Not to mention that he completely voices Navi during the majority of it, and also Zelda. Yeah, when I was alone, I actually found this video really entertaining, but let's just say that most of the comments that aren't from his subscribers won't be able to get into any of this, because back in 2009, the YouTube was still new despite being 4 years old, and video making involving playing the video game with a device that can record everything of a playthrough that isn't in front of a TV screen is honestly really rare when you completely look at those back in the end of the 2000s. So yeah, and the fact that the footage that he uses in this is mostly not the best, since that most of them are really stopped and badly frame rate issues. If you don't believe me, then this quality goes up to 360. But here's what I actually like from his content for the most. It's mainly the fact that he actually makes the video game really entertaining to watch, not to mention really hilarious to actually see his reactions. In his Majora's Mask, he just makes gibberish noises, which it was funny back in the past, but listening to it now, it's really aggravating. But if those two moments that I want you to watch involving his content where he wages is his Ocarina of Time playthrough where he actually found the Hyrule Lodge, well, in his words, Hylian Lodge is what he calls it, and his Final Fantasy freakout, which has a video of its own. He completely flips out on the fact that after all that hard work of finding the Hyrule Lodge and just ends up getting 50 rubies at the end. His reaction is just really good. Seriously, this is literally the biggest example onto how his reactions are really good. Sorry. The reaction that he does is that he completely edit out all the cursing, which really makes the comedy good.
You son of a bitch! What the fuck?
I'm sorry, but even if those are literally the first two courses that I've just shown you, they're still hilarious on the fact that he actually made his content unique even back in 2009. And through the majority of the video, he just completely insults the fisherman person by completely stealing his hat with a fish hook, or whatever you call it. And he completely messes up, even though it's not possible because this video game is 64 and you don't do much in 64 games. I really think that this is the type of wage that I actually enjoy from him the most. And if you really want more proof, then let's take a look at his Final Fantasy video. Because let's just say that his waging moment on the fact that he actually did a fetch quest and he didn't actually get 2 items because of the fetch quest really shows that the wage in this moment is pretty much the best. Seriously. This is literally the only moment that I watch from him because it's actually humorous, and if you don't believe me, then watch the video itself. You will find out. Because his waging is just gold, especially at the end while the screen pitched to black, and before that, he skips into different parts of his playthrough in order to make the joke work. Granted, I can tell that watching all these videos, despite the fact that if you're familiar with Ocarina of Time, isn't really something you can waste your time off, especially that these videos are nearly 12 years old. I still think that they'll consider nostalgia and retro when it comes to YouTube in the 2000s. In my opinion, the 2000s is pretty much a year where YouTube has to start somewhere in order to actually be entertaining for so many people. Granted, his gibberish can't be the causing issue nowadays, but looking at these videos during a very young age and the fact that YouTube was considered new, I honestly think that most of the content that he does are really subjective back at the time, because trust me, there was so many stuff that I didn't like when I was a child, and I have so much issues with them to the point that it instantly gets to me. But since I got older and think about it more and more, you might be able to see something that you haven't saw when you were a child, when you could really see these things. Now, granted, you won't have the same reaction to me as of now if you do watch his videos, but if you have a change of heart and actually see what SirRonLionHeart does for his videos in the past, then you might give him a shot. Granted, it's difficult to keep track of with the episodes since that he listed them that isn't an exact number. He just completely uses a different language for that number. I still think that despite going past through these issues, you might find them really entertaining and pretty much mostly an underrated YouTuber back in the 2000s. Because let's be honest, the 2000s was a really different decade when it comes to watching these videos as of now, since that we're in the 2020s decade. And since that the 2010s towards the 2019's decade was completely different, with the half being the amateur stuff while the other half is advanced stuff, a lot really has changed over these last decades. But that doesn't mean that these YouTubers are considered outdated. In fact, I consider them as nostalgia and retro for my book. So that's basically all I have to say. I would say, good job to SirRonLionHeart, but the thing is, even with everything that's been going on, he's still busy, and with his limited schedule and the fact that he's busy with his life, he's not going to come back anytime soon. I mean, his latest video is his Super Smash Bros. Melee, and he's at episode 5. And with the amount of time that he has, it's going to be difficult for him to actually get back to making these videos. Similar to Amras Lapdog. By the way, yes, I am aware that he is also a retro YouTuber as well, but he was the first guy I completely did a YouTuber tribute on. So, all in all, I really think that if you're curious on who this guy is and the fact that he is way different compared to the other people in the present, then give him a shot. I'm pretty sure you might find some entertainment. I'm Lonely Fanboy for here, and I'll see you guys next time.
Let's get this started again.